great grocery store chain, just coming to Dallas, H-E-B.
Oh, yeah.
Their employees they're just at a different level. Now, these are the same employees that Kroger and everybody else can hire, but they just act differently in an H-E-B. Why is that? Because management's invested in them.
Every single individual has a story to tell, and they're great stories that need to be heard.
I want every listener to know they have the ability to change the world.
Welcome to the 1720 podcast.
Happy New Year, Mountain Movers. Welcome to Season 4 of 1720. We know that you're getting geared up for new goals, new habits, and setting sales and revenue goals for your companies, for your divisions, and gung-ho about hitting them. And we're kicking this year off with Mark Hunter, who is known as the Sales Hunter, who's going to drop some wisdom on us and help you to your daily habit when it comes to sales and revenue. And Mark, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for kicking this season off with us.
Hey, I didn't know I was the opening guest for the year, so this is cool. Thank you for having me on. I'm looking forward to a great conversation.
Yeah, that's season 4. We were talking before. Yeah. I was like, it's a weird half season to start us with, but here we go, man. We start out with what we call our elevator pitch. So for those of listeners who don't know, who's Mark Hunter?
Well, Mark Hunter is a guy who has been in sales, I guess my whole life. And yes, Hunter is my real last name. People always ask me, what was your name before you changed it? No, that's been my name. And you know what I get to do is I get to help people. That's my whole focus in life. My mission in life is to help others. The medium I use just happens to be sales. That's all. Think about that. Whatever job you are, whatever phase of construction you happen to be in, your job is to really help people. And when you put your focus in that manner, it's amazing at how it shifts how you spend your time and who you focus on.
Yeah. We had that conversation on the introductory lunch, and it doesn't matter what background you're from when you're purpose-driven. It really does boil down to people at the end of the day. And the person that connected us is Dave Cochran. So I want to give him a shout out, man. He is the ultimate doc connector.
Yeah.
Yep, super connector. He's been mentioned multiple times. And at this point, when Dave says, hey, you got to meet somebody, it's just auto yes.
It's a no-brainer because he only serves up quality. But you know what? He serves up quality people. But it goes back, people who have integrity attract others who have integrity.
That's true.
You think about that. Think about in our businesses and our jobs, who you are really becomes a reflection in the type of customers that you have, the type of people you interact with. And so it's really is amazing. Wow. Who we hang out with really is important.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a riff on you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with, right? But it transmutes down to like customers and employees, and that is who you are.
It really does. And remember your mom, I'm sure your mom told you, my mom told me, Mark, don't hang out with that boy. He's not good. He's not, our parents were always trying to get us to hang out with the right people at school.
That's right.
Wow. Our parents were pretty smart.
Yeah, they had some wisdom there.
They had some wisdom on us, and we didn't realize that when we were in Jimmy Junior High.
Yeah. And if they weren't telling you that, you were probably the kid that every other parent was telling not to hang out with.
Well, maybe that was your problem. Okay, we won't touch that one.
Well, maybe we should, but not now.
Another episode.
That will be a separate show. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so we do a lot of storytelling, Mark. So tell me how we get to what you're up to these days, right?
Yeah.
Origin stories, growing up, parents, however we get from there to here. Tell me a story.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you a couple of stories. First of all, sales is not what I wanted to do. I did not want to be in sales at all. I went to college, and I actually found sitting behind a microphone was pretty cool. You're listening to the Mindy 95 KQZ Radio 719 in the city. And I was a disc jockey.
Love that.
And yeah, it was on the campus radio station, which meant nobody was listening. So you could play the same song 20 times in a row. But it did get you concert tickets. It got you swag. It got you cool stuff. But the problem is you can't tell your parents that's what their tuition money is going for. So I thought, okay, what I'll do is I'll get a degree in marketing because it's easy. And I'll just really write really bad advertising copy for furniture stores. And that will be my life. And that life was looking pretty good. Yeah, right.
Dream big.
Yeah, I was dreaming big. Oh, I should tell you, I made the upper half of my class possible in school. But anyway,
Made it possible.
Yeah. So anyway, some of you can relate to that. Okay,
Never heard it phrased quite like that.
Anyway,
but yeah.
Anyway, I was set on track of that. But what happened was I ran the police department changed my career. Yes,
okay.
The Seattle Police Department changed my. I got 4 speeding tickets in the course of about 8 weeks.
Okay.
About 2 months before I was going to graduate. I just bought a brand new car, which really upset my parents, but that's a whole separate story. And I got 4 speeding tickets. And what happened was I could not afford car insurance. So I literally, using my college degree and all the wisdom I found in a college degree, I realized that I had to get a job that supplied me with a company car. That's how I wound up in sales.
Interesting.
I got a sales job that supplied me with a car. Now, I was so good in that first sales job, I got fired.
Okay.
10 months
That's
into
usually what happens when you excel.
Yeah. Believe me, I wasn't excelling, okay? Anyway, so it's okay. I get a second sales job with a second Buick. The Buicks were the company cars back then.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even last in that job 7 months, and I got fired.
2 for 2.
2 for 2. Yeah, I'm really, I'm swinging for the fences. So, like I said, I was an overachiever, right? So then I got a third sales job, third company car, Buick again, okay? And it was funny, but it was at that third sales job that I thought I was going to get fired because I was called into the big guy's office, not my boss, but the big guy's office. And he sat me down, and a long story short, I mean, I was sure I was going to get fired. And he made the comment, he said, do you really think you're making an impact on your customers? And I go, no, I just have to get the order. Well, that didn't quite sit right with him. Net, he said, until you begin to understand your customers and really understand them, you will never be successful in sales. That conversation changed my whole destiny in sales.
I love that.
And I did not get fired, and I kept that Buick.
I love that.
Yeah.
How did it get on his radar if it was the big boss that you needed that word? Did you ever have that follow-up conversation with him?
Yeah, because he had gone out and worked with me, and he saw that I was treating my view of sales was like bowling. I mean, you, the customer, are a bowling pin. It's my job to knock you down and take your money as fast as possible. Reset the pins, new customers, let's do this again.
Yeah.
And see, but I wasn't creating a relationship. I wasn't dialoguing. I wasn't conversing. I wasn't taking the time to truly understand the customer. And you know what's funny? I really hated sales. I absolutely hated that version of sales. But I was stuck in it because I needed the Buick.
Yeah, right.
I couldn't afford car insurance.
So the thing that always resonates with me in terms of sales, and we've talked about this a few times on the podcast, is what you're saying is 1,000,000% true, but oftentimes feels fake, forced, or hokey. I want to get to know you, but it doesn't get below the surface, or it comes across contrived or whatever. So say something about that.
Well, it does, because we all, hell, how's your day going? Who cares? Does anybody really care? No. What I want to do is I want to be able to have a conversation. For instance, Kevin, we had lunch together, and now we're having a follow-up conversation, and I'm beginning to understand a little bit about Kevin. Now, Stuart, I don't know you at all. I really don't think you're a nice person, but that's a separate. So I'll just direct
you and most of the people listening.
I'll just direct my conversation over here.
So your next book is how you easily read people.
Yeah, how you read people. But what it is, it really is just taking time to listen. Just shut up and listen. And one of the best techniques I found is that you just take whatever it is that they share with you and just play it back to them and say, hey, share with me some more. Tell me, you when you demonstrate a genuine interest in other people, it is amazing at what they will share with you.
Yeah.
Because think about this. How many, let's use the example, if you're going to buy a car. You walk on a car dealer's lot. And I don't mean to throw car salespeople on, but are you really going to be really forthcoming with them? No, because your goal is to get this car off the lot for as cheap as possible.
Right.
Period. And so that salesperson's at a disconnect is at a disconnect. Now, what my whole goal in sales is, I don't want to say disarm you, but it is kind of what I'm doing. And this is the same thing with a contractor. I mean, how many times anybody in the construction industry, the infamous punch list, right?
Oh yeah.
Right. I mean, it's the punch out list because you want to punch their lights out. Right?
Oh yeah.
Right. I mean, and it's so funny, but over the years I've had a chance to work with a lot of custom builders, and they can tell right from the start whether or not this couple that they're going to build this dream home for is going to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
And I've had several builders tell me that, Mark, there have been great contracts that I could have gotten into, but I've walked away from because I could tell right from the start that they were not people who I was going to be able to go through this process with and make it work for both ends.
It's amazing that rings true exactly the same on commercial construction. The moment you get in bed with a new GC, new client, maybe not even the company, just the project team, and your spidey sense is going off, 99% of the time it proves true at the punch list.
Yeah, right.
We see, that GC, and then they bring in some new subs or something like that, and you can smell it from a mile away.
Yeah.
And this is where relationships matter, because here's the whole situation. Authentic, integrity-centered people are attracted to authentic, integrity-centered people. Slimy people, they kind of like hanging out with slimy people.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of turned off by that authentic, integrity-centered person. So, I mean, it's amazing how it begins to separate itself. But we don't know that when all we're doing is dealing with dollars and cents, square footage, and cost per square foot, et cetera, et cetera. You don't get to understand that until you really have that conversation, really begin to drill down.
You know what I recently heard? The total light bulb moment for what Mark just said.
Yeah,
in your practice, somebody was telling me that that they're in the faith tribe, right? But when they try to find an attorney, they don't want a Christian attorney because they want them to have a little loose morals and ethics when they're fighting for their cause.
That's interesting.
I have heard that comment before, and you know what? That very much pains me.
Yeah.
Because it tells me that their faith is pretty shallow.
Yeah.
That just, to me, that just rubs me the wrong way.
Well, it only applies unless if there's selfish interest there.
Unless they're going to see the wonderful riches fall on them. Right.
Well, and it suggests that perhaps in my profession specifically, but perhaps it translates more globally, that the way you win, the way you get ahead, the way you excel is to bend the rules, have loose morals, and blah, 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 right? I would disagree with that general proposition, but it's out there clearly.
It's out there because this whole thing of negotiation, there are winners and there are losers. I don't think no, it's not. First of all, I don't care how much you think this is a one-off transaction. Oh, this is a transaction. No. Every transaction leads to the next transaction. Everyone. You leave a footprint in everything that you do. So guess what? You better make sure that what you are saying and conveying in this situation here is something that you can live with, because it's going to come back further on. Because there's two things. One, there's the external factor, and the fact that your dialogue, your conversation impacts other people, but it also changes your mindset.
Oh, good stuff.
If you start playing the weasel, I can just make this. I can just do this. And how many times have we seen this? We can see somebody. And, we took care of that last week. And then they know blatantly well that they didn't take care of it last week.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Once you start going down that slope, it is amazing at how you begin cheating on everything out there.
Yeah.
And this is where, I look at guys, and let's take the official vehicle of the construction industry, the F-150. Okay.
This episode brought to you by Ford.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry if I think you drive a Dodge Ram, don't you?
That's Kev, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Kev drives a Dodge Ram.
I got my wife's car today, so speeding tickets might be in my future.
Okay. Not a Dodge, by the way. They spun it out. It's no longer the Dodge Ram. Just Ram.
Just Ram.
Did you know that? It doesn't say Dodge anywhere on your truck.
No, I know that.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Wow. It's like wait a minute, whose truck is this? So anyway,
yeah. Sorry, side quest.
But I mean, you look at how people treat their property. You look at how people treat their own, and it's a reflection of how they treat others.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, that's deep. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, when I see the bed of the F-150, and it is just full of junk. I mean, there are tools that haven't been, that begins to tell me a little bit about that person's communication skills. And you know what? And people can argue with me on this. I see it. I see it time and time again. There's a correlation there. This is also where I sit there and I look at a GC. You might be in a conversation with somebody. And in fact, it was funny, number of years ago, I was doing a lot of work with one of the largest, I won't say the company's name, but one of the largest contractors in the country. And one of the things we were very much working on is you make sure that you may be the project soup, but every person you demonstrate respect to.
Oh, yeah.
Every person.
Yep.
That person coming on the job site, walking into your trailer, coming in there, you owe them just as much respect as you do everyone else.
So many internal and external factors there. Like in our market, in any industry, I'm sure you're building a reputation.
You are.
And we're talking as fellow subcontractors of, hey, who's got integrity, who's got your back, who doesn't. We're trading notes and you're building a reputation, whether you know it or not out there.
And you know what's interesting? The greater the reputation, the greater the level of integrity. It means there's a higher level of trust.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Trust is the offset to negotiation. Think about this.
Mm-hmm.
In the absence of trust, we negotiate everything. Everything is negotiable. Everything. I mean, and let's get down. Price.
Yep.
When trust is at its apex, the negotiation goes much easier.
I love that.
Goes much easier. Where do you want to spend your time? Because, oh, by the way, this negotiation, you do a ruthless negotiation here, that's going to come back to bite you on the next one.
Yeah.
You demonstrate a level of trust, that's going to create another trustworthy client.
Yeah, and you might have won the battle, but maybe not the war. If you won the battle in the very beginning, what if you need their help at the very end?
Oh, man. That's so true. So true.
And I say, yeah, well, figure it out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, years ago, I used to run a pipe, pump, and valve distribution facility. And, let's not kid ourselves. That's basically a commodity. I mean, that's,
for sure.
I mean, that's just how many feet of pipe do you need? And in large orders, there's always going to be problems. Some truck gets delayed, and I'll tell you what I told my salespeople, this is where the level of trust comes in. Because, that contractor knows if you're blowing smoke. Mm-hmm. They can smell it. Because, again, they've heard everything. This isn't their first rodeo.
That's right.
So if you haven't taken the time to create trust before you begin this transaction, and it may be a commodity that we're selling, but we are individuals, and there's a tremendous amount of value that we can trade. I'll still never forget. In fact, it's funny. It happened on a later project. I'll go ahead and say the name. When Amazon was in the midst of their major building projects in Seattle, they had some architectural designs that were just amazing. These massive steel doors. And the whole premise was that the carrier moving these from the Midwest where they were manufactured out to the West Coast, the carrier made a fortune because the carrier was able to guarantee that at 5:15 a.m. on a Sunday morning, that truck will be in the outer lane facing eastbound, ready to unload.
Mm-hmm.
And what is that? That's because of trust.
Right.
And that's, in the absence of trust, everything becomes price.
And you're paying for value at that point.
You are paying for value because that crane is going to swing over at 5:20 and lift that off that low boy.
That's right. And you have permits and road closures.
You got
all that ancillary cost
stuff in there. Yes. Yeah.
I want to go back to that conversation with the sales boss that told you it's about people.
Yeah.
We talked a couple months ago about is there healthy degrees of fake it till you make it. So like at that point when you were knocking down bowling pins and you heard that profound word from that guy that you need to listen and figure out how to add value, did you have to try that on for size like forcibly and then see it gradually navigate to your purpose? Like what did that look like? The reps?
It was not. It was not like, oh yeah, well suddenly,
Eureka!
It was suddenly the sea parted.
Yeah.
And everybody, it took months and years because at the time I was more shocked by it. It was more, I'm 24 years of age at the time. I have no clue.
Right.
But over the years to come, I think I'm so much smarter in sales today than I was 5 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Okay,
right.
I won't say how old I am. But anyway, it's just, I see that facial expression from you, Stuart.
I was just doing math, and then I decided I couldn't do math and gave up.
Yeah. That's why you're an attorney.
That's
okay?
right, 100%. Yeah.
Okay. But no, it didn't but this is the whole thing, though. Think about this: life's lessons never sink in right away. They don't.
Mm-mm.
They take years. They take years. And then suddenly the light bulb begins to go off.
The hindsight light bulb. Like,
that's
he
good.
was right.
That's what Mark meant.
That's good. That's good. I like that. The hindsight light bulb. That's good. That's a tweetable moment.
It's just, man, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We talked about it at lunch, the guy that my boss at the time that moved me out to Texas.
Yeah.
And the same thing. I was like, I'm not interested in sales, man. I want to be a project manager or stay on the operations side. He's like, you don't need to be a salesman to be a salesman. Be yourself.
But think about what is a project manager? A project manager is a salesperson.
Oh yeah.
I always say the definition of leadership and the definition of sales is the same thing.
Oh, say more about that.
It's a great leader is a great salesperson. A great salesperson is a great leader because the definition is it's to help others see and achieve what they did not think was possible. Mm-hmm. Think about that. I don't care where you are in this industry. What are you doing? You're trying to help others see and achieve what they did not think was possible. Leadership, the example I love to use, I get to speak to audiences all over the world, and General Dwight D. Eisenhower on the eve of Project Overlord, which was Normandy. Mm-hmm. Okay, every troop received a letter from him. Yeah.
I didn't know this.
Yeah. Now, was he selling or was he leading?
Mm-hmm.
Winston Churchill. Yes. Yes, right. Winston Churchill, when he would take to the radio to try to calm residents of London from the nightly bombings, what was he doing? Was he selling or was he leading? See? You really stop. Now, okay, in our jobs, it's not like that's the magnitude of our jobs. But you know what? When we are dealing with somebody, and so much of what we do comes down to the skill set. Let's look at somebody who's laying tile. Okay, now you can lay tile or you're going to lay tile, but you can tell the person because again, you look at the corners, you look at the edges. You look at how it trims out. Yeah, that's the person who is doing it. And when we're focused again on the end result, and this is why I always say, in everything we do, focus on the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on the outcome we create. So that makes the difference.
You go apply that to, so we're in a new year. Somebody has a goal like, hey, I want to work with 3 new contractors this year, whatever the goal may be, and they're going in blind with a new one. How do they try some of that stuff on for size? Like, if they're like, man, that seems too big of an idea to change their life. Like, how do they start that process, like prospecting?
Well, here's what it comes down to. First of all, don't try to be doing work with contractors that don't fit your profile. In other words, again, this is how many times have we seen people swing for the fences because there's a bid. Let's just put no. First of all, figure out who is the type of contractor you want to work with. Okay, stay in that lane. And this may be the type of projects that they work on. This might be the style of construction they do. It could be any number of things, but the tighter you can get with that, then what you want to do is you want to say, okay, who are the 3, 4, 5, or 6 of those out there that fit that profile? And then you simply pick up the phone and say, hey, I want to introduce myself. But you know what? Let's get coffee. Let's grab coffee.
Yeah, and why I want to introduce myself to you.
Introduce myself.
Like
because I feel that what we do can benefit you. Oh, we don't need another sub. We've got plenty of subs. If we get some we get some jobs, we'll send you out and we'll let you bid on them. I said, yeah, but you know what? Here's the whole thing. I don't want to waste your time and you don't want to waste my time. I would like to understand a little bit more about how it is that you.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I did this on Christmas Eve. I did this on Christmas Day. I did this on New Year's Eve. I did this on New Year's Day. I sent out on each one of those days probably 10 to 20 text messages. Merry Christmas. I want to wish you the best. Happy New Year. Now, some of these went to people who I know very well. Some of these to people I really don't know that well.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny? The responses I got back were absolutely fantastic. In fact, one of them texted me back this morning and said, hey, let's grab lunch this week. This is a person who I've never met before. I've never met. But was I coming in selling? No, I just, I'd like to, but I just want to genuinely get to know that person.
That's a good hindsight light bulb again. Because I probably was a good responder this holiday season.
Yeah.
Not an initiator.
Well, again, right. Again, I mean, we all receive those various text messages.
Yeah.
But I've just made it a course of habit to sit there and be deliberate. We have an obligation to use the skills and the assets and the talents that we've been given. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. I mean, this, Lord blessed us with amazing talents. And if we fail to use them, then we are really letting him down. I don't really want to let him down.
Oh,
no.
Yeah. Amen to that.
So, yeah. So my whole focus is how do I get out in front of more people? And to me, it's just a conversation. I'm just, I think in the construction industry, we're not exactly known for the most polished communication skills, right?
That's an elegant way of putting it.
I mean, is that kind of put? So, I mean, here's an expression: a 2-watt light bulb looks pretty good in a dark room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you don't have to be polished. Just reach out.
Yeah,
just reach out
with a good heart.
With the right intention. Yeah.
And you might in your kind of 3-step there identify who the ideal client is. Or who, the vision of who an ideal client is, and then who those companies are, and then intros. If you decide in a new year, like, I don't think anybody else fits that mold, go further entrench yourself with the people you've already established relationship with instead of abandoning them.
There you go.
Get deeper with those people.
We all drive past so much business because we fail to maximize the relationships. And if for nothing else, here's what I want to do. I am always referring people. I may not be the right person.
Oh, yeah.
But here's who you should reach out to.
Yeah.
Now, this isn't a one-off game. I referred you once. You got to refer me once. No. This is just simply referring people. And I'm amazed at how that comes back tenfold. It's not a straight line. You have no idea.
Yep.
But boy, it sure changes your mindset. Because here's the whole thing. When I refer somebody, I'm not the right fit for you, but here's who is. That person says, wow, that's amazing. He could have done this project.
Right.
But he thinks somebody else is better.
Yeah.
So what is he? Suddenly I'm elevated. I am elevated in their mind. So guess what? I may be the first person they call next time.
Mm-hmm. For even advice. Because you'll be honest.
I'll be honest. Or I get referred to somebody else.
Yeah. So
again, we can't, my objective is with each person I meet, I want to earn the right, the privilege, honor, and respect to be able to meet with that person again.
Yeah.
Now stop and think about that for a moment. If I can earn the right, the privilege, honor, respect to be able to meet with that person again, I've had a good day.
Mm-hmm.
And if I do that enough, stuff's going to happen.
Yeah, and you've indirectly increased the relationship with the person you just referred. Oh. You're like, wow, I've never done that before. I'm going to try that on for size. You've made them better, and then They auto got your back.
Huge, huge. Here's an expression that I really want to run with this year. We always say giving back. I want to give back to them. No, give forward.
Yeah.
Give forward. Give forward. Think about that to start the new year. Give forward.
Yeah, be an initiator, not a responder.
Be the initiator. To me, that's pretty cool. That's pretty powerful.
All right, so I have some questions we're going to double back to. There's a lot of, through this process of, and I didn't write them down, but earning the privilege and honor and respect, you're gathering lots of information.
Yes.
I, as a younger person, could store all that information in my brain.
Huh.
I always knew so-and-so liked X, and I'm just being a little cheeky here, but like I could just remember. So I would find myself in a conversation and I could make that connection, or I could remember that, or I could all that. Now that I'm a little older, I'm having trouble managing all that information, which is further complicated by the fact that over a almost 20-year career of doing what I'm doing, the number of people who I've interacted with is increasing as well. How do you manage all of it? Again, I'm not trying to be cheeky about it, but like, how do you keep track of all this stuff?
Well, that's why you've got to have a CRM system on people. Oh, well, that's for salespeople. You've got to have some means, and it may be nothing more than a notebook. You may be, again, you got room in your F-150, okay, and you take a page in a notebook and you put Stuart's name at the top.
Yeah.
As Stuart shares with you insights, information, you just write it down on that piece of paper. But you keep it. Don't let go of it, because here's where I have found so many times. I'll never forget. There was a situation where a gentleman I had met, and he told me that he was in the process of building a house. And then somewhere along the line, we didn't connect again for several years. And we connected. And I go, hey, by the way, how'd your house turn out?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. I mean, he was like blown away. Now, did I remember? No, because I had written it down.
Yeah.
I had written it down. But he was so impressed that I remembered that. Here's something very, very interesting. We always say, construction industry is built on facts. It's built on emotions. I can share with you a bunch of numbers. I can share with you a bunch of things and so forth. And we only remember about 6% of the words that are said, but we remember 100% of the emotions.
The way it all made me feel.
Yes. Think about that for a moment.
Yeah.
That's the powerful piece.
When somebody I barely know or is kind of a step above an acquaintance remembers my child's name, like that simple thing I think is super impressive. Like, hey, how's Quinn doing? I'm like, where'd you pull that out?
Right, right.
And that inspires me to be better. Like, it's something that I want to add. And like, you almost make it a game. When I see Mark, I'm like, all right, I'm ready.
Well,
I got that locked and loaded next time I see him. But man, do I swing and miss. Well, sometimes I got to look up that name and go on LinkedIn. I'm like, he's approaching.
Yeah.
Mark, got it.
Yeah. But here's what's cool about that, because, if I say, hey, how is Quinn doing? It automatically takes you to a personal state.
Totally.
It automatically, and it begins to defuse you. And what I've always found, we are the most communicative when we're comfortable and relaxed, because we just share. This is where I went. When one of the big challenges I find we have in the industry is we don't do enough pre-investigation. We kind of wait till we get to the negotiation phase. Okay, we're going to kind of spell out the contract. We're going to kind of put everything down. When you get to that point, it's gloves on. It's gloves on. What I want to do is I want to find out all of this long beforehand.
Yeah.
Because if we're coming in this commercial project and there are some very specific pieces regarding a tenant or two that are going to go into the building, I want to kind of understand that ahead of time, because then that's going to help me shape how I'm going to craft the proposal.
Yeah.
Because now what I'm going to be, I'll give you a classic example. We were, my company was working to do a project with a large building supply company in the Midwest. And we had done all of our work. We'd done all of research. Everything was great. And proposal was there, and everybody had signed off on it. And the VP of sales, the operations person came to me and they said, we just have to get the CEO. He said, we just have to get legal to sign off on it. No problem at all. Suddenly, I got a phone call from the CEO of the company, who I had never met. My mistake, but that's a separate piece. He said, Mark, legal walked this contract over to me, and I'm a little bit appalled at the size of the dollar amount. You're going to have to cut your price significantly if we're going to do business. Now, this is a call out of the blue, okay? So, right? I mean, so the natural tendency, we'll cut. And I said, I can't change our price. The only thing we can do is change the value you're going to get from it. And by the way, how many salespeople and how much business do you expect to lose from those two new competitors that are going to be coming into your marketplace next year? There's this long pause. It feels like, 3 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
Then he says, that was good. You're hired.
Yes.
Now, why was it? Because that was the issue. See, the issue they had was they had two competitors that were going to be coming into their space. And they were afraid of losing some major contracts, losing salespeople, losing they thought the sky was going to fall. And that's why, and we found that out in our investigative phase. Okay. Yeah. And that's what we built the contract around. See, if I had not found that out, I would have been in this negotiation game with the CEO.
Yeah, back on your heels.
I would have been back on my heels. But because I knew that, and I was bold enough and confident enough to sit there and say, how much business do you expect to lose in salespeople do you think are going to quit?
Yeah.
Because of these new competitors coming in. And I know that took him for a loop.
Mm-hmm.
That took him for a loop. And like I said, after about 5 or 10 seconds, and again, just keep your mouth shut. Don't say anything. He goes, and I still remember, that was good. You're hired.
Yeah. I love that.
And I go, yeah.
Donald Trump, before he became president, he was the closer on his developments. So if he built a hotel, golf course, whatever the case may be, a residence, after everything, the negotiation, the interview, the scope out, all of that, he makes the phone call to the company decision makers.
Right.
All of them.
All of it.
And you don't know it's coming unless if you have an inside track.
Right.
And so the company I was working for at the time, we got blindsided by that phone call. And it was to hammer the number down. He has no idea what the scope is or anything. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't
He's Donald Trump.
It doesn't matter.
Donald Trump's calling you to negotiate your number. You're like,
right.
I'll cut it 5%.
Naturally, and he could care less who he's going to throw under the bus. But see, this is the whole thing. When we fail to do our homework leading up to that stage, because here's the whole thing. I was able to go into that phone call confident. I was confident for two reasons. One, we had done our homework. We knew exactly what that client needed. And two, I was confident because we've done this work before and we know the outcomes we can create.
Right.
We know this is going to work.
I think that, what do you usually say? Rewind the last 5 minutes?
Yeah.
That's a Stewie comment.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you think you're a salesperson or not. It's preparation.
It is.
Being prepared for what you're walking into.
It is preparation. And again, see, this is about having a relationship. Because the more relationship I can have with you, the more you're going to converse with me.
Yeah. That leads to things like benefit of the doubt. They know your heart.
They know exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, authenticity, integrity trumps everything else out there. See, Trump there. I just put the word Trump back in.
Yeah. Well, can't say that anymore.
Yeah, okay.
So where do you go, or what inspires the sales hunter? So like you go out of working for somebody in the industry to on all industries.
Yeah.
What's that transition story?
Well, that transition story is funny because I mean I had a great job, great corporate job, but I was not seeing eye to eye with the president or the CEO, and I just knew how that wasn't going to work out well for me. So I quit. And I'll admit, the first several years, it was like, oh boy. It's funny because my wife and I, we prayed about it, and okay, the Lord's going to open this door up, and we just didn't know it was going to be a door to a tunnel, a long tunnel. But you know what? Things work out. Because I had this belief system that if you truly do serve other people, things will happen, and that's, so there's nothing, think about this in anybody, and I don't care what business you're in. Business is not complicated. If you break it down into simple steps that become repeatable, that you're focused on.
Yep.
And if you do those, I mean, there's a book I love, Atomic Habits.
Oh yeah,
James Clear.
It's like an ultimate January book.
Oh, that is a great January book, Atomic Habits. Yeah, and it's all about just doing very simple things, but being repetitive with them over and over again. And I look at top performing companies in not only the construction industry, but every industry. There are ones who just have a very, at the end of the day, I hate to say it, a pretty simple model.
Yeah.
This is what gives me hope, because like I said, I made the upper half of my class possible. So there is hope for me. Because again, if I do things simple enough, and it's staying focused. Again, we can all get caught up in the shiny object.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, oh man, how many times do we get, hey, if we just bid on this project, hey, if we just bid on this will be really cool. Don't get outside your lane. And especially right now, because we don't know where the economy's going. And, we're starting to see some shifts. We're clearly seeing shifts on the residential side. Commercial side seems to be feeling a little bit awkward. Don't panic. Don't panic. Stay the course. This now more than ever is a time for relationships.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love to say this, that sales is not a solo activity. Sales is a team sport. And I want to have as many people on my team as possible.
Yeah.
Because the more I can have other people engaged, you look at a good contractor, they've got relationships that go so deep, so far, so wide, that it enables them to navigate through any issue.
Yep.
And that's what we could, again, I'm an optimist. We could face to a certain degree this coming year.
Yeah. I think New Year's resolutions are the shiny object, and that's why so many of them fail. Because that shiny object gets dull, and then you lose your focus on them. And so it's got to be for something deeper and better than that.
Well, and the problem is because we said, and I've seen this, I've seen these small contractors. They say, man, if we just get this line of credit, we're going to be able to just, scale 5x, 10x, and then this is what's funny. Then the bank turns down the line of credit.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, this, we're not going to be able to grow because we can't get the capital. Well, let me tell you something. Businesses do not fail because of a lack of financial capital. They fail due to a lack of intellectual capital. Chew on that one for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that to me. See, when a bank turns down a contractor, it's easy for the contractor to blame the bank.
Yeah.
It's easy. No, I hate to say it, but got to look in the mirror. Intellectual capital.
Yeah, there's issues far behind that led to that moment in decision.
There are far behind it, and believe me, I've stood on both sides of that, of being turned down and getting lines of credit, getting loans,
yeah,
etc. So.
Stewie, I I'm not a good name guy, but you just circulated a podcast talking about scaling and capital and the pitfalls of that. What was that called? Do you remember?
It's the Harvard Business Review podcast. Yeah, I can't remember the gentleman's
really
name,
good.
but it was talking about scaling and problems that they see in scale. And it's a guy who is a professor at Harvard in the business school who's been doing some talking about it. But yeah, super interesting.
Yeah. Here's the whole thing. I mean, everybody wants to scale their business, but you have to ask yourself, is it sustainable? Sustainable has to be first.
Yeah.
Because I've seen, we've all seen contractors go out there and they go out and do this mega project.
Mm-hmm.
And they're right on the heels of that. They fail
Mm-hmm.
because it was scalable, but it wasn't sustainable.
Well, and if it's only scalable based on your relationships and you don't build the infrastructure to build it and execute it, it's a big piece. I think Texas is a good relationship market. You do all the things that we're talking about and you build that relationship, good. You'll scale.
Mm-hmm.
but will you sustain it with what's behind you?
That's the challenge.
Yeah.
That's the challenge. I mean, over the years, I've done a lot of work in the oil and gas industry. And let me tell you something, I have seen more booms and busts I mean, man, I can share stories on cold stacking wells and rigs. And I mean, it's scary. It's scalable, but is it sustainable?
I'm going to go back to something you said just a second ago about good contractors have, or companies, I'll say, to back up, just relationships all over the place that help sustain or manage through crisis or issues or whatever. What's your perspective on the development of those, that tangled web of relationships? Is it organic, strategic, natural, forced? How does it happen? How do you do it? What all that sort of stuff?
I take them any way I can get them. They're primarily going to come organic through existing relationships. For instance, you made the comment, Kevin, that we got introduced by way of Dave Cochran.
Yeah.
And I met Dave Cochran through somebody else that I knew. So, it's organic, you might say, but it's strategic because I had told this person, I said, hey, I'm new to Dallas. I want to meet people. And she said, oh, you need to connect with Dave Cochran.
She knew a thing or two.
Yeah. And so those are and then there are other events that I'm moving out to and so forth. But you're constantly trying to put yourself in a position that people will be attracted to you. Now, here's the challenge. You can spend all day networking and starve to death.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have to get focused.
Yeah.
So I might say, okay, I might spend time over here developing relationships. I mean, like the two of you. I mean, great. We've networked. Now, I don't think there's going to be a monetary relationship that comes out of this. So it isn't like I can give you guys 24/7. Sorry,
Sure.
Stuart. I know you.
I'm highly demanding.
Yeah. Sorry, that's not going to happen. But I can devote X time to that. And then over here. Now, there may be, but again, somebody's going to wind up connecting with somebody. I'm going to probably meet some people who I can connect you guys to.
Right. Yeah, and likewise.
Which is terrific.
Yeah.
And again, that creates that web that just, and the bigger I can create that web, the better off we all are.
Yeah, it makes sense.
That transition of seeing others do it and then you try it on for size and then you start connecting people regardless of what comes back. That's what's selfish to me. It fills my cup if I know you two need to be connected and it just serves you two. I freaking love it. It's one of my favorite things.
Doesn't it jazz you?
Oh,
I love, in fact, it was funny. Now, I didn't do it this morning because we're actually taping this on January 1st. Or no, January 2nd, a holiday.
The audacity.
Yeah, but anyway, here we are in the studio recording on a holiday. Okay, that's another issue. Anyway.
Yeah, but the traffic.
No. Oh, I see. It's all about the traffic.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
You're welcome.
Got it. Okay.
Because Kevin's Ford truck doesn't get good gas mileage, so he needed to.
No, his Ram truck.
Oh, right.
Memory testing.
Please, man, I'm remembering this.
I was just seeing if we could put it together.
Okay. Just trying to see if I remember stuff. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Now, don't get me talking about your 13-year-old. So it's okay.
Yeah.
So it's okay. Okay.
He's
We're
awesome.
talking about Stuart here in a pre-conversation we had before we began recording. So
everybody just was like, all right, next.
Click, next. Anyway. What was I talking about? Did I tell you I'm ADD? No. Okay. What were we talking about?
I am too, so that's all Stewie. He's got to bring us back.
We're talking about connecting folks and how it's super fun to do it. And
yeah. Every Monday morning, I love to send a referral to somebody or connect somebody.
Yeah.
Every Monday morning, I just say, hey, here's somebody who you got to meet. And you know what? It's kind of cool. You do that on a Monday morning. It just jazzes you. It just really, and there can be days that there can be some times when I'm not, wait a minute, let me just refer somebody.
Yeah, that's a great time to do it too, because people are maybe groggy and like, here comes the meeting blitz a Monday morning. Oh, here's a blessing in your inbox.
To me, I get jazzed out of it more than I think the people I connect.
Because they don't know yet. They don't know what's about to happen.
Yeah, but Earth, sun, moon, stars.
They're all going to align.
They are going to align, and it's just going to be amazing. Yeah. And there'll be a statue put up of you outside the American Airlines Arena. Yeah. That was for the Mavericks fans.
Yeah, old Dirk.
Anyway, okay, Dirk. Anyway. Boy, this is transgressed into, I don't know where we're going on this one here.
Welcome.
Welcome
to 1720.
Yes, Monday Morning Connector emails.
But see, here's the whole thing. Because again, if we take, we all probably have a habit. I mean, I have a habit. Every morning I get up, I push the coffee maker, I go do my workout, I sit down, I have my quiet time, I read my Bible. Those are all internal things. When I take the time to send a referral to somebody else, that's an external thing.
Yeah. I like it.
Now I'm lighting somebody else's candle.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And what I love is those internal habits that you built up have strengthened your external habits.
Oh, without a doubt. I'll tell you what, I can't stress that enough. I get up every morning at 4:30. I got up this morning at 4:30. And I have a very set routine. I mean, it's very, very set. But what does it do? It really comes out of atomic habits.
Yeah.
And it does. So then when I could sit there and send that referral out on Monday mornings, and then I just complement that by send another referral. It's just cool.
Yeah, habit stacking.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I didn't follow my structure today because of hunting. No pun intended. Last night.
Got you off.
So I got 4:30, but I did not do the whole gym, Bible.
You are a slacker.
I am off today.
You are. Well, what's funny? It was funny because this morning I woke up and I said, I'm not going to work out today. And I thought to myself, hold it. This is January 2nd. How can you break that?
Yeah.
No, and so you got to stay. It's easy to fall off of repetition. And this is why we also need an accountability partner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very high on this. I have several people. In fact, I'm having dinner with one of them tonight, and it's an accountability partner. And she challenges me on everything. This morning there was another accountability partner who, when I got up, there was an email at 4:34 from this accountability partner. Like, whoa, wow.
They're coming after you.
They're
holding strong.
Yeah, but
you got something launched.
But this is what's cool. This is what keeps. You look at you two guys. If you guys were doing this podcast singularly, it probably would not be in its fourth season.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, because I would say, and agree or disagree, but we've both had like dips and lulls, and we pull each other through them.
But you pull each other through. This is why. You've got, and this is where I say so many times that contractor, you may be a smaller contractor and you basically own the business yourself. Let me tell you something. It can be lonely.
Yeah.
It can be lonely, right? Because you can't go beefing on the employees. You can't go, ripping on, management. You are management, okay? I mean, you're management.
Yeah, if you got a problem with your employee.
Right. So it can be very, very lonely. It's very interesting. But yesterday I got a note from a CEO of a medium-sized business. They have about 300 employees. And we have these conversations on a regular basis. And it's because it's lonely for him.
Mm-hmm.
But he knows he can call. And he sent me some stuff. I said, let's get time on the calendar this week. Let's talk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Accountability is so powerful. It's such a weapon to deploy in your life with your habits, for your weaknesses, for the negative thoughts you have in your life that could bring you backwards, like everything. And I'm a guy that that's not natural to share. Not the goals. I love sharing goals. Everything about goals and habits, I love it. But my past, or like darkness and the shadows and all that sort of stuff, I don't want to talk about it, because the closer they creep, the more I kind of turtle in, But if I break that and tell Stuart, like, man, I'm going through it right now, I just wanted to let you know, that's it. It's there right now.
Well,
he knows, and that's on the front of his brain. He's going to ask me about it.
Yeah,
right.
This is where I mean, I see so many startup contractors. I know how to do this. I can make this.
Yeah, I've been doing this all my life. Widget.
I've been doing this all my life. I'll dumb this down to very simple terms. The painting contractor. Okay. The guy who manages the crews. I'm tired of working for the boss. I'm going to go do my own thing. Goes out and gets a couple trucks and vans, and boom, he's up and running.
That's right.
And he crashes and burns. Suddenly realizes it's a little bit harder than he thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that whole back of house thing that happens.
That whole back of house. And throwing a bunch of ladders on top of a van isn't calling yourself a business.
Yeah.
All right. Stack of books on the table over there. Tell us about writing books, and I can't even see which one that is. But.
Well, this book is a mind for sales, which is perfect for non-salespeople. Because I mean, here's the thing here's the thing. We all are in sales. I don't care who you are. You may not want to call yourself a salesperson. I don't care, but you're in sales because again, it's helping people see and achieve what they didn't think was possible. So, the book is called A Mind for Sales. Subtitle is Daily Habits and Practical Strategies for Sales Success. Because I say, there's very specific things you start off with every day. It's like how I start off my day, 4:30 in the morning. There are very specific things that you do. But what does this do? It just becomes incredibly mindful. And it changes your thinking. Here's what I find. I find this with so many contractors. Business is good. Business is good. Business is just falling, and it's just great. If I'm not out there cultivating relationships, if I'm not out there working, that's a muscle that goes pretty flabby. And my fear is if this economy goes sideways, I don't use that R word. If this economy were to go sideways, we're going to see some contractors that kind of get into trouble.
Yeah,
because they don't know how to go out and find business. They don't know how to go out and find business. Wow. So that's what this book is about. It's really designed for the non-salesperson.
Yeah, we like to commonly turn the light switch on and off between sales and operations.
Right.
Boom, turn sales on, turn it off.
Right. Oh yeah.
On goes operations, and you just live in this circle, just flipping the two on and off.
And then we wonder why our profits are not there. We wonder why our cost structure is so out of line. And what I want to do is I want to say, how do you create this continuous flow? Because it also is when suddenly you're panicking. It's amazing how you'll I know I
need this one though.
I need this. I need this one. Right. I need this one. I need this one. And you never make as much as you think you're going to make. Right.
Oh no.
Right. I mean,
I need this one.
Right.
I got low expectations, and I need this one.
Right. I need this one. So I'm going to cut my margins way down. But it's okay. It's okay. And then you wind up getting all the way down with the project, and you realize you didn't make any money at all. And you go, this dog don't hunt.
Yep.
That was really stupid. Yeah.
I've made I need this one phone calls many a times.
Oh, we've all been there.
Yep.
Again, I mean, that's the real world. But here's what you got. This is why you got to be constant. You have to be every day. Every day I work out because it keeps those muscles. Don't look at me like that. Keeps those muscles where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I would fall out of shape very, very quickly.
And even if it's not for your image, it's for health. It's for that discipline for the next habit that you really don't want to do. You've probably built up, no pun intended, that muscle of you want to go to the gym. You're craving it at this point.
Yes.
But might be a new habit that you're trying to create that you absolutely do not want to do, but that muscle's built to go do it.
Well, what's funny is that's a very real thing because, again, we can be in the middle of a workout and we say, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? But you're going to power your way through it. You're going to get through it. You're going to do these number of reps, whatever it might be. And then you sit there and say, it's the same thing in my business. I've got to be prepared to do the reps to make it happen.
Yeah.
Every day, I look. I'm into puzzles. I'm not physically into. I mean, I know. I guess I do, but I look at every challenge I face as a puzzle. Think about this, and to me, it's an optimistic view. I've got this puzzle I got to figure out. I don't know what the picture is going to look like, but it's going to be really cool when it's done. And I'm going to figure out how am I going to make this project work? How are we going to get these pieces together? And it just changes how you look at things.
Mindset.
It is.
Start start with it.
It is all about your mindset. And I mean, we've all worked for bosses who we like, and we work for bosses who we hate. And think about that for a moment. I had a couple bosses who I thoroughly loved, and I would walk through a wall for those guys. Walk through a wall. In fact, it's funny. One of them, and I talk about him in this book, John Canavan. I would walk through a wall for this guy. He was the manager of the McDonald's I worked at when I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is that spooky or what?
Yeah.
Yeah. But John just had a way. Why? Because he invested in people. He absolutely invested in me. He invested in people.
Wow.
He had this amazing ability to listen, and just the way he went about his job. This is a McDonald's restaurant. I'm 16 years of age.
Yeah. That's cool.
But he made a huge lasting impact on me.
I love that.
Doesn't translate exactly, but there's a Chick-fil-A close to my house. It's managed by this guy named Elvis. Like, he knows when we come in on Friday mornings, when we miss, he's like, where were you? When the kids go in there, he knows which one. Like, he's managing a Chick-fil-A.
Right.
But like, I think about that dude. Like, I drive by, I'm like, oh, I should stop in and say hello. And I should, right? And at Christmas time, we were in there right before he came out and gave us like gift cards. He's like, man, I appreciate you guys being here all the time. And just the point I'm really trying to make is the little things, like just being seen and known and heard, it drives me to have loyalty towards what's going on. This guy's managing a Chick-fil-A.
He's investing in people.
Yes.
And he's investing in two people. He's investing in the customers, but he's investing as in employees.
Oh, yeah.
Because his employees see that.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. His employees see that. And they just resonate with it. Yeah. And what's very interesting now, think about this for a moment. There are people who work for Elvis, and Elvis might be short a couple people for the shift. So he calls somebody up. Oh yeah, I'll be happy to help out. I'll be in 10 minutes. Yeah. Nope. That's the way I was when I was 16, because he would call and, hey, Mark, can you get in here and close? I'm there. Because again, because I would walk through a wall for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. There are so many, our business, the construction industry, we like to think that it's skills and that, the trades and all this cool toys that we have.
Yeah.
It's people. I mean, how many times have you seen somebody do really stupid stuff with a front end loader?
A lot.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, you can't swing the bucket around like that. Okay. Just park it, buddy. I mean, and these are those little things that you see, but when people are fully, here in Texas, we're very fortunate. We have great grocery store chain just coming to Dallas, H-E-B.
Oh yeah.
Their employees they're just at a different level. Now, these are the same employees that Kroger and everybody else can hire, but they just act differently in an H-E-B. Why is that? Because management's invested in them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not belittling Kroger. I'm not belittling anybody else. But if we want to control our labor, and what contractor doesn't, start investing in your labor.
Yeah.
Showing them the respect.
Mm-hmm.
Showing them the respect.
Lead by example. And this is where I crack up, because I find so many. Do you know how many kids they have? Right. Do you know who their spouse is, their significant other? Do you know their birthdays or anything? And again, it's not snooping. No. It's just demonstrating that you care. Mm-hmm. That level of care and that heart, I've noticed over the years when your team grows and it's genuine, like what your care for them, like more than the stressors of what's going to happen with the business. Like you go through those ebbs and flows where it seems like everybody's getting attacked, man.
Yes.
And so they're coming to you in confidence, like telling you the story, and you're like, you go home at the end of the day, you're like, my goodness, man, are people going through it? What can we do to make things different? Beyond sales, beyond operations, like just as human beings, they're going through some seasons.
Here's the mark of a good contractor. Where do they get their employees? Are their employees coming to them by way of referrals?
Mm-hmm.
If they're a good employer to work for, their employees are referring other people into them.
Yeah, like hey, they're actually walking the talk. They're the real deal.
You got it. I mean, and it's kind of funny because I've been on the other end of the table where we've been interviewing contractors for major projects, and I sit there and I say, "That's one of the questions you want to ask," and it throws the contractor for a loop. Throws them for a loop, but then they begin to understand why we're asking the question.
Yep,
because it's going to tell you a little bit about the quality of the craftsmanship.
I love that.
We're going to have. Yeah.
So what else is the Sales Hunter doing? You got the saleshunter.com.
Yeah.
That's where people can go look you up. We're going to give away copies of Mind to Sales. You're going to sign them. We're going to give them away to our tribe. They're big, avid readers. What else are you all up to that you want to promote or let people know?
Well, I've got a podcast. I don't want to compete with you guys because you guys have a cool podcast, but the Sales Hunter podcast. And we have an online learning platform. If you go out to thesaleshunter.com, you'll see it there. But you know what? I mean, and I get to work with a lot of contractors all over the country and so forth and just helping them. It's funny. We started off on sales, but we sure talked a lot about people, didn't we?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I guess that's what sales really is.
Yeah, that's where we started.
Yeah. And so that's, it's kind of funny, but that's organizations will bring me in and say, hey, help show our guys how they can be selling better, how they can negotiate better. And then it always winds up that I'm spending more time with the owner, the CFO, the CEO, whatever. And that's cool.
Yeah.
It's people. This is a people business. Always has been, always will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we typically close out what we call our two-step out: books and then one big thing. So we talked about your books. We talked about Atomic Habits because why not? But other good books you've read recently, kind of go-to books, anything you would recommend to our listeners?
Oh, man. Book I just started this morning. Deep Work.
I'm familiar with that. Someone's recommended that. Who is it?
Yeah. And it really is kind of cool because it really says we really got to get absolutely laser focused on things.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife says, I already do that enough. But I say, no, I don't think I do. Anyway, we're going to counseling for that. No, it's okay.
We'll work it out.
Yeah. But Deep Work is, and I thoroughly love, I mean, like I said, I just got into it this morning for about 25 minutes, but I'm loving it. It was very highly recommended. But Atomic Habits, if people have not read Atomic Habits, get it. Get that book before you get a Mind for Sales. How's that?
That's a good rec.
How's that? Yeah.
It's I think 3 laps I've taken on it. It spoke to me in different seasons.
Yeah.
You're not one and done on that. That's for sure.
That's spooky.
Yeah.
Cal Newport, is that it? Deep Work?
Yes, thank you.
I was looking it up because that's super familiar. I Googled it. Checking it out over here.
Yeah, and then there's another book that I haven't, but I got it also called The One Thing, and it kind of picks up on that. Get focused on the one thing. What's the one thing that you are focused on? So now here he is Googling the one thing to see who that's written.
That's by. Gary Keller, isn't it?
Gary Keller. Thank you very much.
Yeah, somebody gifted that to me, and I haven't.
That was pre-Google search. I'll vouch for you.
Yeah,
you were trying.
Yeah, somebody gifted that to me. I haven't made it through yet, but
that's a Christian dude, isn't it? Gary Keller?
I don't know.
Familiar.
Hey, for contractors, read The Energy Bus.
Oh yeah,
John Gordon.
Yeah.
John, wonderful believer, wonderful guy. John Gordon has written the book The Energy Bus. He's written a number of good books, but I very much highly recommend for organizations to read The Energy Bus.
Anytime he takes a snippet from his books and posts on LinkedIn, like the section that's highlighted, I'm like, screenshotting.
Oh yeah, and he here's something very interesting. He is genuine. He and I were speaking at a conference together back in September, and backstage just happened to get talking with him, and we're talking, and just a genuine, nice person. And he says, "Hey, I want to go out and meet a bunch of people." And he, sometimes, the heavyweights, they want to pop in and leave.
Yeah.
No, he wanted to go talk to people.
I love that. Walk the talk.
He out walking around, talking to people. And, but that's somebody who's putting their faith out. See, that to me, what is he doing? He's literally walking the talk. And if you think about Jesus, look at his 3 years, 2.5 years of ministry. powerful, but he was always out there in front of people.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
And yet he still took time, deep work, to go off by himself.
Mhm.
And he was focused on the one thing. Isn't that interesting how we weaved those two books in there?
Yeah, that's amazing.
And he made sure that they got the disciples on the energy bus. So there we go. We worked all the books in. There we go. There we go.
Smoked that right.
Man,
Nice.
wow, man.
It's like you had that set up the whole time.
Yeah,
Just ready
right.
to roll that out. I'm
Right.
sorry. All right.
I'm in sales. I make stuff up as I go.
I'm a trial attorney. I make stuff up as I go too.
Whoa. Wow.
Easy.
I'm not hiring you. I was thinking about hiring you, but forget it now.
All right. Here's how we close almost every episode.
Yeah.
Unless it's just us, I guess. With the one big thing. So the way I set that up is if listeners just tune in here at the last minute and all they catch from your episode today is this. What is it?
It is all about influencing and impacting people. Every day, make it your mission, make it your goal to influence and impact people. If you can leave them in a positive manner, you will have done yourself a favor. And more importantly, you'll have done the other people a bigger favor.
There it is.
Strong close, Mark. Thanks for joining us, my man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.